Everyone, and welcome to Little History. As always, I am Adam, our professional resident historian and streamer, and we are starting up a brand new LP today. We're going to be playing Expeditions Viking, which, if you haven't heard of it, you can imagine it as basically Pillars of Eternity or Baldur's Gate or any of those CRPGs, but in a historical setting, and that historical setting is 9th century Denmark. It's going to be a good time. So, if you enjoy this and have not yet, do make sure you hit that follow button, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to that channel, either using paid subs or those free Prime subscriptions. It does help a lot and gives you access to the best emotes on Twitch. If you also like this, do make sure you check out the Patreon, patreon.com/LudoHistory, where is the best way to support the channel, and it gives you access to some extra bonus perks, updates about what's coming up, and occasionally even extra content. So, let's get stuck in, and start up this very exciting game. An Infernal Screeching, hello! It's good to see you. So, obviously, we gotta start at the beginning. We're gonna be stuck in character creation for a hot second, so let's not worry too much about that. But, before we do that, I do want to just point out that we have the very stereotypical scene here of very dead people, and a burning church, and a longship. So we should be thinking about raids. Barry Mike, hello my friend. Right, so at some point in this, raiding is going to be a big part, and that seems to be the aesthetic they initially tell us we want to get into. Now, difficulties. This difficulty menu, that is a Norman church. It's not an early English church, but they wanted fairly early, fairly medieval church, and that's what they come up with. Ignore the fact that most churches would be made of stone, or at the very least be laid out somewhat differently. Usually not 2 spires, usually 1, etc, etc, etc. Anyway, we have our difficulty levels. Leifur Eriksson, Ivar Beinaisi, Ragnar Lothbrok, and Eirikr Blöðvíks, with little bits of historical blurbs. Leifur the Lucky was an Icelandic explorer who discovered North America. Technically, Bjarni Herjolfsson did, but you know, whatever. He led the first expedition. Though his successors' attempts to settle went poorly, Leifur's own expeditions were highly successful and peaceful. If you choose this setting, luck will favor your expedition as well. Ivar the Boneless was one of the leaders of the Great Heathen Army that invaded Britain in the late 9th century. If you pick this setting, you may face major challenges, but you are likely to prevail in the end. Thank you for letting me know, Lonely Spaceport, but let's actually fix that. I bet this will help even more. Frame rate limit, 60 FPS. That should take the stress off my computer, so we'll help that. Difficulty. Ragnar Lothbrok. Ragnar Shaggy Breeches was a legendary Viking who raided and blackmailed France and England. He won power and wealth, but ultimately met a bloody death at the hands of his enemies. You'll be met with great resistance, but your victory will be all the sweeter for it. And Eirik Bloodaxe was a Norwegian raider who briefly ruled Northumbria in the 10th century before he was betrayed and killed. You will find no mercy, your enemies will be relentless, and your trials numerous. Grueling defeat is the most likely outcome. We're going to be playing on medium, because I'm not a coward, but also I'm not crazy. There is some serious shade about it. Just being like, oh yeah, very vaguely, right? Who are some famous Vikings? It doesn't matter if they're real or not. Just, who are some famous Vikings to go do stuff? I do take slight umbrage that they said that Leifur's successors' attempts went poorly, because Thorfinnur Karlsefni did fine, actually. It was the one led by his by Leifr's sister Freytis, according to Eirik Saga Reitha. That went very, very poorly. I know, they didn't mention the snakehead story, which I'm fine with, because even more history. If we are using our oldest sources for Ragnar, which is to say the Royal Frankish Annals, I believe, or it's one of the adjacent annals to that. I don't remember exactly which one. Reginherus, the Latin word used for who we assume is Ragnar, actually doesn't die in the pit of snakes. He sacks Paris, and then he goes home, and then he falls deathly ill, and a priest working in Denmark tells him, oh yeah, by the way, this is super God's punishment. If you convert, he might save you, question mark. And then he converts, and then still dies horribly, and his corpse basically explodes with plague. Still not really a bloody defeat, but divine wrath and plague seems much more in line than random pit of snakes. Also, character creation. We have so many options. So much character art. And they have no particular, preference given. It's purely cosmetic whether your player character is male or female. Literally makes no difference. And this is not, this is not a neutral argument. But also, it's not one I'm bothered by in the slightest. We can just look however we want. Random, 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 random. And so yeah, clothing-wise, the clothing is really, really good. Though, I definitely, okay, maybe that one's not so good. But the fancy is definitely where it's at. The fur line is okay. A kaftan with a tunic underneath, that is then trimmed with fur. Looks okay. But I think the fancy is really where it's at. And the same vibe, simple dress, simple tunic, fancy dress. There was also in this, I think one of them looked... Yeah. Looks, to me, very much like later Norwegian folk clothing, potentially even showing Sami influence. Which we do love to see. We genuinely love to see that. Well, a lot of these are pretty much standard apron dresses. That one stood out to me as being unusual in the best way. Anyway, we're gonna hit the randomize button a bunch more times, then we're gonna make the clothes fancy. You know, that seems fine. We will be Vimundur Hrafnilsson, unless there's any complaints. With us being Vimundur Hrafnilsson. Cloth, shoes, boots, sandals, wrappings. Yeah, we're going for the wrappings there. Hello, Tarkles. Good to see you. Okay, is there just a mustache option? There is no mustache option. Tragic. Tragic, there's no option to just have a mustache and no beard. Oh well. Oh yeah, Mastrissa, I very much agree with you on that. There are some comments on the clothes and the dyeing colors. In the Viking Age, all dyes would be vegetable dyes, which means that they will fade quite quickly. While vibrant colors are definitely possible, more likely we'd have a slightly duller green than this, emerald here. Then again, one might suggest that this is meant to be imported, and so potentially some kind of more like Byzantine velvet, or silks, something that really could hold that bright green color. Probably not for trousers. Would probably expect to see that more used as like lining on things, but you know, there definitely were ways to get extremely bright colors in the period, and they really are doing a bang-up job with this whole clothing aesthetic. Now we can assign way too many points for everything, because this is a CRPG, and we love nothing more than random point values for random everything. So, endurance, finesse, perception, and sense. Sense affects mental resistance and stamina, fundamental to witches, scalds, and other support characters, can often be used for persuasion in dialogue. Perception determines accuracy with ranged weapons. Perception is crucial to archers and will often reveal additional information during dialogue. Finesse determines base damage with knives and spears, and crit chance with all weapons. Endurance, HP, base damage, block chance, and stamina. And strength, base damage with axes and swords, and affects physical resistance. I might go in on spears. That might be what we do. Because spears are in fact good. And, by the way, there are a lot of skills. Just for the record, there are a lot of skills going on here. So many. So many. Guess we'll grab that too. We'll grab that, and... I only have 2 skill points left. That doesn't give me a lot of options. Doesn't give me a lot of options at all. And, Conspiramo, thank you for the follow just now. Welcome, my friend. I don't think that gives... I think the cheapest thing is 3. So I think that's it. Assigned all of those. Assigned all of those. Done. Yeah, because I don't lose them, so it's literally whatever. Let's get it. Logic artists, let's see what you've got. How well does Lincoln Green?
And a good husband, but he was not a strong chieftain to his clan. As he travels to join his brothers in the halls of Valhalla, you must take his place.
Let's see how bright that is.
Set by petty squabbles. Some amongst our people would contest your claim to leadership, as they saw discord our neighbors plot against us. Gather your most trusted clansmen. Together you will face dangers which none can predict. You will be challenged on your leadership, your resolve, your wisdom.
The most Icelandic accent, by the way.
Across the sea. Power and strength for our clan must be sought outside the Norselands. If you show yourself to be bold, the gods will follow you into battle. Your legacy will live for 1,000 years beyond your time. Our clan must prevail.
Have you... That is the most Icelandic accent. One could not ask for a more Icelandic accent if we tried. Anyway, how does Lincoln Green match up to what's possible in the Period, or what we're seeing in the character creation, it's not as bright. It's probably about as close as you can get. That I think is effectively the same color as, or same process as you use to get green in the period, but it doesn't come out with the emerald that we're seeing on our own dude's trousers. Anyway, which is the evening after your father's funeral. When you close your eyes, the image of his blazing ship shimmers in the dark behind your eyelids. It's not a common ritual this far south, but your mother Austrider, who hails from the land of the Yeats, insisted on it. All the thanes of the neighboring clans have come to attend your feast in his honor. Your father may not have been the most successful thane, but as a warrior he commanded the respect of many. Literally my only complaint about this is that I wish they just used Thorn. The guests are filing into your longhouse. The thanes enter first, each trailing a modest group of warriors. You should greet each of the thanes before the feast begins, but listen well to their words. Few of them would benefit from making this a smooth transition. It will be important to know where they stand. Hooray. We need to talk to a lot of people. We have Ausleifer Grimvardarsson, Ketil Kolbjardarsson, Röre Krapkelsson, Halfdaner Salmundarsson, Skuli Skullcleaver, Ragnhildur Inviti, and Nepja Holmendardottir. You like how your mom clearly has some power here to the point of making the decision on what kind of funeral it was? Exactly. It's immediately so good. Literally, right. So, the design of the hall itself is fine, but nothing special. Like, it is too wide, probably, and the hearth is too small comparatively. But it's fine. Right? It's like a weird isometric angle, you've got to be able to actually see it. But in terms of the power dynamics we're already seeing, it's immediately really, really good. So, the comparison, I'm going to be using, I think, mostly the legendary sagas as comparisons for this. We'll try and use the Icelandic or the sagas of early Icelanders where appropriate, but oftentimes I think the legendary sagas show this more clearly. So, and I'm more familiar with that corpus because I've read them more recently. So, you know, we're going to be using those. But, right, the immediate comparison I would perhaps think of is with, after in the saga of Ragnar Lothbrok. After Ragnar dies, there's this... A messenger comes to Denmark and says, hey, we may have killed your father, please don't kill me.
The feast seems to be off to a good start.
But after this, Ivar persuades his brothers to not murder the messenger. After this, there's this period of weird deliberation until their mother, at this point in the saga called Randalin, but also known as Auslaug Brynhildardottir, the child of Brynhildr the Valkyrie and Sigurd the Dragon Slayer, persuades them, no, you really should probably go off and avenge your father. That's, yeah, no, do that. They lose for a while, but you know, their mother is the one who bullies them into doing that. In Volsunga Saga, the prequel saga to it, it is Gvöðrun that Gjukadottir that persuades her sons to go on a suicide mission when her daughter Svanhildur gets trampled by King Romanric's horses. So, we're in Denmark, Agalias. There are rabbit warrens in Denmark. And we are in southern Yearland at that. Like, we're actually gonna get a map a little bit later on that'll show us exactly where we are. And so it's actually fine. Altona plays the level of Grump, Ragnhildur, not sure about. but she's little more than Sigurd the Hringer's appendage, and who knows where he stands. Hey look, historical figure, sort of. Legendary figure. Sigurd Ring is a super duper 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 important figure in the legendary corpus. Ragnar Lothbrok is his son. Just to give you a sense of where in the legendary genealogies we are, he is a direct descendant from Odin. Yeah, that's right. Yes. And is the father of Ragnar Lothbrok. No, this is not Sigurd the Dragon Slayer. This is a different Sigurd. This is Sigurd Ring. Or you might be lagging, Pit Magistressa. If you were talking about earlier, Auslag, her father is that Sigurd. Yeah. Where is Erlinger? Where is Erlinger's family? That's probably not good. Ragnhildur the White is the most influential of your guests. As the vassal of King Sigurd the Hringer, she is the current ruler of Denmark. No? So, not quite. Sigurd Ring is the ruler of Denmark. I guess what they're doing here is basically saying that he's the ruler of Scandinavia broadly. Which would be a bit of an exaggeration, though not a terrible one. So let's see, what are we looking at here? If I'm remembering right, Sigurd Ring's center of power is Sealand. So basically, I mean, actually, probably, right, Gamaleya is usually what's said to be either some combination of Heorot from Beowulf, Schildschäfing's, i.e. Schildschäfing's Hall, Hrolf Kraki's Hall, from which the town of, or after whom the town of Roskilde is supposedly named, or Sigurd Ring's base. So he's actually in what is now Denmark, with a power base on the island of Sealand. But if they're saying that he's ruling a larger area of Scandinavia, including like Skåne or Jämtland, potentially even up into Sweden, though I think that's an exaggeration, then it would make some sense if they're saying Jylland is Denmark, and then this broader southern Scandinavia area is Sigurd the Hringer's domain. I could see it working, but either way. Meh. Regardless, she comes from Leva, which is great. Leva is a very cool town. It's founded about 700, and quickly becomes the most influential trade port on the western side of Denmark. It was a beautiful ceremony, Vimundur. I extend my condolences for your loss on behalf of Leva and the king. I must tell you, we advise him not to seek out the isles across the sea. We've all heard the stories of the unprotected coasts and their treasures, but there is more danger than the rumors let on. I am not surprised they claimed his life, but I am glad that at least he died with a sword in his hand. Ah! Another reference. Let me look up the exact date from this, because this is a very famous battle. The battle at Brauvetlir shows up all over the place in the legendary sagas. And it is a battle between Sigurd the Hringer on one side, and Jätland. Oh, okay, they're saying Sigurd Ring is the king of Sweden, is what they're doing. Okay, that's what they're doing. So they're saying Sigurd the Hringer is the king of Sweden, and then, at the Battle of Brauvetlir in the late 8th century, he beats Jätland and Denmark, and then unites the entire Sweden, Denmark, Jätland area, from which Ragnhildur becomes the steward of Denmark. Okay, I'm okay with that. It's fine. Naturally, there are not good sources for this time period, and so there's a little bit of futzing around our source material in order to figure out who's the king of where when. Exactly, Turkles. The famous Sigurd, that is Ragnar's father, is the Sigurd being mentioned here, who fights at the Battle of Brauvetlir. Your father's story will be missed in our struggles against the Franks. Hey, guess who they're fighting at this time period, by the way? Because if the Battle of Brauvetlir takes place in about 770, guess who we're going to be, some years after that, guess who they're fighting? Lothbrok is a distant cousin. Leadership of the clan has moved between your side of the family and his for generations. He is a skilled warrior and a hard worker.
Our condolences on the passing of your father. At least he
Charlemagne!
wanted. We will be feasting with the gods tonight.
It's no secret I didn't agree with how Hrapkel ruled our clan. I don't see what gives you the right to succeed him, but this feast is in his honor, and I will not insult his memory here, nor will I challenge your claim to leadership. Yet. It's not our way to let rulership simply pass from father to son. If we are to become a strong clan again, we must appoint the best warrior as Thay. You're not the strongest of us, merely the least weak of your father's children. If you believe the gods favor in this, I hope you will get the chance to prove it, but I will not simply wait for you to falter and bring the whole clan to ruin. Thank you, Auslaver. Why does he have a French name in English? The Normans? I blame the Normans for this. And when you have 500 years of them using the French name for him, it just kind of stuck.
Busy entertaining your guests?
Uh-huh. Trying to decide who to pick a fight with. I want this feast to be memorable, and nobody tells stories of a feast without a fight. By the way, look at his embroidered, brocade on this. It's a little bit silly, but also I love it. Jokes aside, have you seen Skooli's huskarls over there in the corner? Hroðgarða and Skaki. I've heard stories about them. Uh-oh. Nappia seems to be expecting trouble too, so I've decided to go easy on the meat and keep an eye out. Speaking of which, keep an eye on the big lug back there. He and his friends have been putting their heads together all night. I think he might be planning something. Thank you, Katic. Your older brother Rörik already had a penchant for music. He looks up and gives you a warm smile as you approach him. God Kveldover. I mean, my honored Thane. How do you feel? Hey! Hey look, they're using Danish spellings. Valhöll. In proper period Old Norse, this would be a hooked O instead of a slashed O. Modern Icelandic, it's an O with an umlaut on it, but it's fine. Father was a warrior. There's no doubt he's feasting with Odin now. Sorry I couldn't be the older brother I was expected to be. You don't deserve to have to deal with this mess on your own. Boo. Well, so we are the younger child, but we are inheriting it anyway. Hrapkel is in Valhöll now, Vilander. There's no doubt about it. He died doing what he loved. Well, he feasts among the heroes. You're left back here to sort out the pieces. You've got your work cut out for you. Your father managed to make quite a few enemies in his time, most of them among his own clan. If you'll permit me to be honest, he never paid one speck of attention to the wishes or needs of his people. Surely you're not expecting your claim to leadership to go uncontested. Well, shit, as long as no trouble's brewing, you can take steps to prepare for it. And calls for a throat for a refill. Oh boy. Skullcleaver is the Thane of Yedling, which borders your area. Yedling is a large territory, and Skuli is one of the most powerful Thanes in Jutland. Yedling has prospered under his rule. Skuli pushes himself away from the table with his foot, the chair making a grinding sound across the wooden floor. His face shows earnest sympathy. Vivander, my boy, so sorry about your father. If there's anything the people of Yedling can do to aid you in these trying times, don't hesitate to ask. Thrauk, i.e. the modern Icelandic pronunciation. It's Thorn R A with an accent mark LL, which ends up being Thrauk. Thrauk. Plural is Thraillir. The Frankish Threat. So, this one's actually kind of interesting. Obviously, Yelling is this incredibly important area a bit later in Danish history. It's fine that he's the Jarl of Yelling right now, but historically, right, the Jarl of Yelling tends to be the person who tends to control the vast majority of Jylland and become the petty king of that region. That makes it a great power base from which to expand. So I'll be curious if we end up seeing like Harald Klak at all, who is a historical figure who converts to Christianity in 815, give or take, and immediately goes apostate. But does that to get some Frankish forces to win a civil war in Denmark between him and his brothers. And in the 10th century, the site is now really important because that's where Harald Blåtand raises this giant ship burial for his father, Gormr the Old. And then raises a very famous runestone that says he united all of Denmark and Norway and converted them to Christianity and other such fun good stuff. So, you know, that site will continue to be really, really important, and if they're on bad terms with us in-game, it's going to be a bad time. Tell me, what are your plans for this place? How will you lead your clan? So we've got some options, right? Defenses. Is that close to the Old Norse pronunciation at all? No, it's the modern Icelandic pronunciation. So, great time for a disclaimer. Anytime there are Old Norse words in this game, I will be pronouncing them using the modern Icelandic pronunciation. That is my academic training. At the University of Iceland, where I did my MA, they are very much in favor of using modern Icelandic pronunciations for probably obvious reasons. While some people are diehard on using reconstructed pronunciation, I have some big major quibbles with it, and since this is so early, I don't think using reconstructed pronunciation would be particularly reliable, or be any more accurate than using modern Icelandic, because typically, there's two main types of reconstructed pronunciation: 13th century reconstructed and about turn of the 11th century reconstructed. We are in the turn of the 9th century, so we're 200 years early even for our older reconstructed version. That's really early. You must have gotten that notion from your mother. I know your father never cared one dolt about the gods. I'm sure you know I fought with your father many years ago. We were a very much similar inclination, he and I. The man had a real taste for battle, not like his brothers. Mark my words, Vimunder. True bonds are forged in battle, not bound in blood. He came to me for advice before he mounted his last journey, on account of my ties to Kveldover. Should have warned him better about what he was getting into. Vikings out of Kveldover have been to the Isles across the sea. I've heard many stories about it, since I often go there to trade. Your father wanted to hear if the stories were true. By the way, I've taken too much of your time already. I know you have other guests to entertain. Perhaps we'll talk later after a bit more meat. By the way, right. Historically, the other thing that we're looking at here is this broad unawareness of England. Right, the lands to the west that they're referring to are England. And this seems to be a broad unawareness. But they're doing something really smart with the setting of this game, in that they are a decade at most after the Lindisfarne raid. Right, we are either in the 790s or first decade of the 800s. So we are only really close to the Lindisfarne raid, and so that means that there probably actually isn't a ton of good information about the raiding state of England, what's actually going on, because we're really early. We're really early. Right, there would have been a small handful of raids in England at this time, things that we would identify as the Viking phenomenon, and there were a small handful in Ireland by this point, but there's not much. There's really, really not much going on. Now, that being said, there is an awareness of England as a location. Like, that's fine, because there are trade links going back to the Bronze Age between Scandinavia and England. But translating that into awareness of the military strength and raid viability of England is not quite the same thing. Thank you, Skaki. Oh, that's not good. In short order, the door flies open and the doorway is filled by Ter Erlingsson, sword in hand. Outside, you see his brother standing over the prone form of Ketil. Ter looks around the room with disgust. Hey, look! Great, immediately. So, we're told, come outside to defend our honor, or we'll burn the hall down. That's fine. That is a well-attested practice in the Iron Age, Vendel period, and Viking Age, of someone takes over, right? You challenge someone, you beat them up, you burn their hall to the ground, you build a bigger hall down the street. Lather, rinse, repeat, generation after generation. Actually, pretty much every generation should either expand the hall or just build a bigger one. Not resource efficient, but very prestigious.
I hope Ketil is all right.
Great. We have a follower. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our follower really likes knives and spears. She is very good at spears. And is otherwise quite bad. But she's very good at spears. And etc, 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 etc. Anyway, she is filling a trope known as the Skjaldmey, the Shield Maiden, which is a complicated subject. It is a very, very complicated subject. Hooray. Lots of options there. quests, timeline, whatever. Equipment. I don't have any equipment right now. Could I get some, please? Nepia has her spear and knife. Great. We'll take all of them. Let's grab that and let's equip our options here. Spear. And we'll grab the bow as well. And that should be fine. We'll take a look at using the sword someone else, but... I mean, I'm not much of a fighter, TBH. But yeah, shield maidens obviously are difficult to deal with because there's still a lot of debate about them. The evidence seems to be indicating that more and more that they do exist, but within a legendary context like what's going on here, this sort of semi-legendary, very early Viking Age, like they're all over the legendary sagas, so it's not that big a deal. The idea, though, that they'd be using a spear instead of a sword is very strange, because the big point of a shield maiden, or Valkyrie, or whatever, is that they are extremely elite warriors, and that means that they use swords. Uh-huh. 4 against 1, this is what the sons of Erlingar Thor... That's not... I think that's a typo there. I think that should be Erlingar Thorkelson. Yes, yes, Toasty. Ha! He does not, but he'll be proud of us when Auslever is finally Arthane instead of you. Welp. And Auslever is like, no. Auslever Grimvarder is like, nah, no. Alright, so, combat. The way combat works is basically we get a move action and then an attack action and then the rest of our move if we've got it. If we move too far, we get an attack of opportunity. Spears can attack from 2 range. Bows can attack from much longer. And everything else attacks from 1 range. We also have skills. Tactical move. Has them, but has the move, but you can move through things freely. It just uses your attack to do so. For right now, I think we will mostly work on step. And then we have the rest of our moves, so we'll just back up. And then we'll click over to the next person, and we will repeat. Stab. And then we'll back up. And then we'll go over here. And you have a different weapon, right? You have a knife. Yeah. Well, that's probably fine. We'll walk up. We'll stab him with a knife. And then we'll back up. And then you walk up here. And we'll bash him in the face. Ah, it didn't work. Tragic. And then we will end turn. You're going to attack from like 9 quadrillion miles away? Ow! You hit? That was rude of you. That was so rude. Well, glad my people are being completely useless right now. Then you can back up over here. Gives you some cover. We'll switch over to the bow, I guess. Nah, don't like either of those. We'll just run up and we'll stab the guy. Irritating that that didn't hit though, or didn't do more. That's fine. That's fine. Well, we got the Harry status effect, but luckily didn't actually hit, so... continues to be okay. And once you use just a smidge of tactics on this... Ah. Missed again. I think we'll do this. Then we can attack at this at 3 range. And then we crit them. Nice. Ugh, stop demoralizing us. Ow. It's not cool. And do we hit? No. Tragic. Well, whiffed again, but killed. And that's combat. No new injuries, no new items. Nothing got damaged. Oh, Tar Erlingsson lies on frozen earth in a small pool of his own blood. Well, rip. Only one brother survived. The farmer picks up his weapon and leaves dejectedly. His pride has suffered a tremendous blow tonight, but poses little threat now that he stands alone. Yup. Uh-huh. Can you believe this? Son of a bitch, basically. Oh, good. And now we're gonna go to Holmgang Island. Which is a bit of an awkward way of phrasing that, but Holmganger means island going. So, even though, well, no, I won't even say that, because there actually is an island in Iceland, that in Thingvellir, that seems to be like the place where judicial duels at Alþingi happened. So, right, whether or not it's exactly the same one as the tour guides today will say it is, I don't know. But you know, the etymology certainly suggests it occurs on an island, and there is some evidence in the sagas and from the literal location that suggests that there were judicial duels happening on an island. So, a bit awkward way of saying that, but you know, that's fine. Let me find him. Don't underestimate us, Lever. Slaver would be a terrible thing. That's probably true. I can't believe it came to this. What actually happened out there? Heard voices, went to take a look. All out here with their weapons having some argument over whether or not to set fire to the hull. That's not what they were doing, not at all in a judgmental way. But they, you know. Rapka, yep. Yep. That's gonna be a problem. Nah, we liked it a little bit. We may have liked it a little, just a little bit. Uh-huh. Go to Hilda in the bog and ask for her help. Sigrid, I have an idea. Other than that, better equipment. So yeah, we've got some options here. If we look at our map, we have our little town here, and then on the outskirts we've got someone here, and we've got someone here, and we've got someone out here that we can go look at. And it's great. Like, there's a lot to like about this. Let's go talk to Kveldover, which is a strange name for just a person. Right, Kveldover in Icelandic context refers to someone specific. The grandfather of Eik Skallagrimsson, whose name strongly suggests that he was a werewolf. Kveld, evening, and Ulver, wolf. As far as I know, it's not a common name otherwise. Ulver is, but not specifically Kveldover. Oh well. So, Erlinger finally lost control of his idiot sons, did he? Glad to see you made it out of that mess in one piece. Uh-huh. Sense. Hooray. We get armor. Kildaka. Not a problem. And there's that. Great. That gives us new equipment. Kveldover's cured armor. Gives me defense. Uh-huh. What is our best choice here? Weapon 8. I think our sword might be a better choice for us here. The bow and the sword, I think, are probably better choices for this fight. Look, sometimes your werewolfy hunts aren't paying the bills and you take a blacksmithing apprenticeship. I mean, that's true, but when your day job is also being the blacksmith, rather than just apprenticeship, I don't know. Hetlosite, Vimunder. I witnessed Ausleifer's challenge. Is there anything I can do to help? It reminds me of something your uncle Grimmelver told me once. He was with Hrapkatl in Yatland to fight for Sigurd the Ringer, tasked to ambush a group of mercenaries, and to split the rise with a surprise attack, so he had ideas suspending a strong net above the path. I don't think Ausleifer... Chat, do we do it? Is this a trick we want to do? Or do we want to take him on fairly? We could do it either way. But I will say I'm not too worried about being able to beat him. We are on a fairly easy difficulty, and we do have armor. So what are we thinking? Poison? Traps? Or just better gear? Chat? What do you mean it's up to me? I'm specifically asking you your opinions. Chat participation points. Come on. Traps. Well, that's 1 vote for the traps. That's 2 votes for the traps. Fair enough. Traps. The worst thing that can happen is you have to fight him like normal. Perfect. And then do we want to... And then do we... Let's go at least meet the terrible witch bog. And we can see... what, if anything, we want to deal with that. Because this is another thing that is... Like, this is super not honorable. Like, traps are already pushing it, but we'll pretend that that's just taking advantage of the terrain.
Why are you here?
Oh well, you'll be wanting some sort of poison then. So we can meet our witches. Yay for magic users. God, there's so much scholarship about magic users and a bunch of new scholarship coming out. Unfortunately, the new scholarship was published in Brepples, which means that it costs $150. But, you know, magic users anyway. The rough and dirty version of how the whole process goes is that magic users tend to live on the outskirts of society because they're untrustworthy, and using magic to defeat people that you super don't like is pretty well attested. One might look at Grettisaga and Snorri Gothi using magic to cause an infection in Grettir's leg that results in him and Grimsey being so sick that he's not able to move when they show up and cut off his head. This is a super dishonorable move and makes a lot of people very angry. So, if we're fighting a fair fight here and trying to earn people's respect, this is not the way to go. If we're trying to win, unless if we have big protagonist energy, it'll probably work. If Hilda is too difficult, come talk to me again. I might be of some help. But yes, in terms of her design, she is very much 90s pop magic user. The green lipstick, the white people dreads, the skull bandana. Very much, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean. Seems right. Winning is winning.
Hulda, it's the Thane. Come out and say hello.
Hilda. The old witch emerges from her burrow, supported by a burning apprentice. And she is mostly blind, and also wears skulls. I made an offering to Thor when you left, and that same night he struck the big willow with a thunderbolt. This is Vimunder, the son of Hrapketl and Austrider. Do you remember him? Of course I remember. Don't give me that look, like I wouldn't remember. Perhaps I should go. Hilda? Of course I'll help you. Last time I gave you a good fat rabbit to Thor. You already said that, Hilda. Don't lie. Oh dear. Oh dear. This is the third time today she's bashed me forever. She'll call me back when she wets her bed again. I think we might be done here. Fair enough. Right, so stylistically, right, she's obviously modeled on a character trope known as the Spalkana, which has this wonderful Thorbjörg Litilvölva? Yeah, Litilvölva. In Eirik Saga Reyða is the best literary description of one that we have, but one might perhaps look at Ibn Fadlan and his old woman Angel of Death, or potentially something like the Oseberg ship burial, maybe, sort of complicated, as evidence for other elderly female ritual practitioners. This has been interpreted as being led by a woman, and both people buried in it are women, so meh. But she's also the crazy hag, which is very much in line with modern ideas of magic. First, age, and basically Alzheimer's, but entangling gender, disability, blindness, and magic is very much this fairly common trope, and the idea that some sort of disability or mental illness being associated with the ability to see the future as very, very much modern tropes. You have nothing to apologize for. She is a wise woman with a lifetime of knowledge in the plants, the gods, and the spirits. I hate to see her mind unravel like this. Notice, by the way, Assassin's Creed Valhalla has literally the same trope. Literally the same character at the same point in the narrative. It's just that she turns out to be Freya for no discernible reason except plot convenience. We are not going to do the poison, though, because I don't particularly want to, be that dishonorable. Like, we have standards here. I don't know history, we are going to act like our great saga characters and at least be, vaguely honorable. Yeah. Not so much in Norse traditions, though, Tarkles, right? You can look at, like, was it? Yeah, I think Taliesin's blind, right? In the Welsh corpus. Obviously, Homer, whoever the heck that is. And what's his name? It's, oh gosh, who's the old blind in the Antigone cycle, or the Oedipus cycles? Who's the who's the seeress? Tiresias? I think it's Tiresias, or the seer. And, well, that was rousing. It's not a good feast until there's a fight. Don't be too distraught. Handled it as well as anyone could have. Thank you. Looks like you have work cut out for you. You should be able to take care to bring your clan in line before the all thing, or your standing will be weak. Yeah, that's valid. That's valid. And the feast. No further time to prepare for the duel. That's okay. We should be fine. Should. We'll see how this goes for us. The next day at noon. Sigurður and Ljótur greet you there, and come and advance at the stakes that define the area. Small bundle of branches on the ground, I guess in here. Or perhaps Thor will happen to drop Mjolnir from the sky and coincidentally crush Auslaver's boat on the way here. Sadly, he is already here. Are you ready? Not really. Challenger, I, Auslaver, son of Grimvarthur, have challenged Vimunder, son of Hrapkel, for the right to rule our clan. The winner shall sit as Thane of Skjert and reside in his longhouse, receive no other reward. Should he survive, he was defeated, may swear fealty to the winner, or his life is forfeit. If either of us die, we'll be buried here. Irritatingly, we're gonna run away! Rolled. Ah, we whiffed. Tragic. Continue to run away. This is fine. Everything is fine. Oh, he's still stuck. Incredible. Well, we missed again, and nearly hit someone behind us. So that's fine. That should have been everything, so we will switch between these. I think we will, this turn, focus on anticipating the opening, and then we will just end turn. Because that used our attack action. Ah, boo. Of course you hit on that. This is gonna be close. Ah, of course he crit me. The problem is I die in 2 more hits? I think I die in 2 more. Ah, it's gonna be... Yeah, if he hits that on shield, I lose. Luckily, he did not hit that on shield. I did not hit on shield. And so this is fine. Attack number 1. He trained us both. What do we even have against him? Uh-huh. But the king should read the Leithanger. Army tomorrow. How many able-bodied warriors can our clan muster? 12? Half the women in the clan are widows, and Hrapkel's foolhardy expeditions are the cause of it. That uses his second shield. I'm not able to make the attack. That's fine, we'll just run away. The more time I can back up for... Ah, he caught up to me. Damn. That's potentially a problem. Because if I hit on shield, I get in trouble. Because I don't have a shield, which means it only takes a couple of weird swings for me to get into big trouble. I think I tank one more? I do not tank one more. But luckily he did not hit, I did not hit shield. 2 for 2. Let's go. As Laver's second shield crumbles off the grip. You aren't nearly as good as Hrakkel. If you should win this, I hope you'll be a better thing. How do you plan to govern us? Perhaps you're right, Schooley's great advantage that he holds favor with King Sigurdur. We'll need allies of our own if we hope to defeat him. So, by the way, this association of there being multiple shields used in this process. Come on, please hit. Yes! That's what I needed to see. And that uses all of your move, which means I can just do that. Do that. Cool. That leaves me in a huge position right now. Even if I end up hitting on shield, I've got like 3 turns where I'm going to be okay. But anyway, this idea of there being 3 shields in a Holmgang or some kind of duel is actually directly taken from a saga source. It's from the author of Thorstein's Staffstruck, which the summary of this story is basically there's a farmer, or the son of a farmer named Thorstein, and then down the road is the local chieftain in Iceland. And while he's around, while he's walking around one day, a servant, or a slave, I should say, of the other chieftain comes in and kind of beats the shit out of him. Hence the name Staffstruck. In revenge, Thorstein goes and kills 3 of the slaves of the local chieftain, which is very unlucky if you are those enslaved people, because they don't actually get agency. They don't get agency in the matter, they are just victims for plot convenience. Not great, you get used to it in Icelandic literature after a while. So, the chieftain and Thorstein culminate in having a duel on the edge of a riverbank, and they each go through 3 shields. And in between shields they're just like, okay, let's take a break, let's get some water, get all freshened up, chat a bit, and then we'll go back at each other, and they fight until they each completely destroy 3 of the other person's shields. And they basically take no injuries in the entire process, and it is taken all day long, and everyone is very tired, and they're just like, okay, jeez, new plan, we'll call it a draw, you're going to work for me, and you're going to replace the 3 people you killed. And Thorstein's like, cool, we can do that. And he was in fact exactly worth 3 other workers. Because nice and poetical stuff. There's a subplot involving Thorstein's father, who is a terrible person, and does try to stab the local chieftain, who I think is actually Snorri. It might be Snorri, because it's always Snorri. Don't quote me on that, I haven't read it in a while. I've got it over there, but I'm too lazy to go and grab it. There's a subplot where he effectively attempts to goad the local chieftain into killing him by trying to stab him. And he's generally just crotchety and unpleasant, and Thorstein eventually just says, you know what? No, you can die miserable, I don't give a shit anymore. But yeah, that is where I think this thing is coming from. There may be stuff in the law codes as well, but I don't know the law codes very well, so there's that. But regardless, 3 shields, 3 fights, we win. You fight better than I expected. You have become a very capable warrior. And the trick with the net. How could I miss that rope? I don't appreciate such trickery, but I can't deny their effectiveness. Yeah, well. I hope my challenge won't linger in the air between us. I want you to know you can depend on me from now on, fully. Hooray! We have a new friend. We have our party who's going to run around awkwardly with us. Great. Yes, Magistressa, that is exactly what happens. You get used to it. While it is very clear that Old Norse law codes do acknowledge that enslaved people are, you know, people, they are not people with any rights, and they are around a lot for narrative convenience. You know, for male enslaved people, they tend to get bullied into committing violence, and or are already terrible people who are excited by the chance to do violence, and then end up dying horribly in feuds. And if they are women, then they are going to be sexually assaulted a lot, and the best they can hope for is that their kids will become free men who may or may not achieve high social status. Most clear example of this is in Laxdæla Saga, where an enslaved woman named Melkorka is purchased in Norway, and then she is acting mute, and on the boat ride over, she is repeatedly assaulted and becomes pregnant, and eventually it turns out that she is the daughter of the King of Ireland, and she's not actually speechless, because her assaulter and owner comes across her one day speaking to her son in Irish. And that son, Olafur Páwi, or Peacock, becomes one of the richest men in Northern Iceland, gets offered the throne of Ireland, etc., etc. So, you know, that is the best possible outcome. Which is not to say a good outcome. Eventually, Melkorka does achieve some degree of independence, because her assaulter's wife does not like her, and so the solution is to just buy her own farmstead and leave her alone there. Alright, Infernal Screeching, have a good night. We'll be playing this pretty much every week for the next, 6 weeks or so. So, we'll see you next time. Hopefully you can make it on Tuesday for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Is there a wagon there with two grain bags and a giant rock? Yes. Yes, there is. What's next? We'll have to do something about Erlinger Thor. Okay, they do want it to be Erlinger Thorgilsson, which is strange. I still think it should be just Thorgilsson, but that's fine. We should probably go there right away. Is there anyone we can talk to here? Potentially. That's out of town. No one's there. No one's... Kveldover, how are you doing? Nothing to say. Fine, 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 fine. Neat. The giant wooden horn is a bit, 1954 Vikings, but that's fine. This is the campaign map, where you'll be traveling between known locations. New locations are marked in the lower left corner of their icon as shown above. Long journeys may require you to make camp on the way, otherwise you'll starve. Etc, etc, etc. So as we zoom out, you can see we're actually in like a known place. This is clearly southern Denmark. Though, you know, the island right here doesn't exist, which is concerning. That's somewhat concerning. Sieland just, like, doesn't exist, because this is the island of Funen. Ribe is somewhere down here, here? I think it's here. Oh. No, that's Marshland. I don't remember exactly what Ribe is, but it's somewhere down here. And then even farther south, in what's actually now Germany, is Hedeby. Which is another extremely important trade town, which is going to be somewhere like way down here, basically. And modern German, I think it's Hethebu, but is a place that we have an Islamic description of. Who is it? Al-Tartushi, I think, is the one who travels there and describes it and says that they do infanticide there and also worship fire, because they're pagan, and all pagans in Islamic thought are Zoroastrian. You have about 1 month to prepare, but yeah, there is actually a time thing, and spoilers, we will eventually be going to Britain. Everyone should go with us. Everyone should go with us. Uh-huh. No one has noticed our arrival. Here we are. I do hope this pans out better than I expect. Oh, there are more Thrailier. Well, I'll just pluralize things in Old Norse. That's easy. I could just say thralls, but Thrailier. It's a more fun word. They're poorly armed, but they'll defend their master if it comes to that. A surprise attack will give us a strong advantage. We could circle around the back and set fire to it. I'd hate to bring such a death to Erlinger. He may be a bitter old bastard, but he deserves to die with honor. I don't think we want to burn... We don't want to burn him to the ground, because we are more honorable than that. There will be plenty of chances to burn other people to the ground. Notably, Saga heroes do frequently deal with it, but burning someone to the ground without announcing your presence is bad form. This should be good. I used to be an outlaw. My bandit I ambushed farmers and merchants in the forest south of here, where I was caught and enslaved. I hid my most valuable possessions on the stash with the claw of a bear. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the quest. We will look and see if there's things to steal anywhere. Yeah, crafting supplies. A random skill point. Oh yeah, we have some of those, don't we? How many do we have? We have 18 skill points right now. That's helpful. That's very helpful. Charge, potentially helpful. Support skills, healing. We might grab a heal, and then a leadership, and then we'll see if there's anything here. Has the deterioration risk. Guarding increases security. Diplomacy. I love diplomacy. We have lots of options. Right, I mean, perfectly acceptable arson. It it still is, exactly, right? If you announce your presence, it turns from being arson into being a raid, and people will probably not look at you super kindly about it, but also it's effective. And losing, right? Losing is usually more dishonorable than winning by tricksy means, but probably the most famous case of arson in the Saga Corpus is Njal Saga. And that shouldn't be a surprise. That saga is extremely well known. What else is useful? Spot traps, potentially helpful. Anyway, Njal Saga basically has two big house raids. So the first one is against Gunnar of Fridarendi. And the second one is against Njál Þorgeirsson. Where's that move? Walk your shots, I need to save up for. You have 9... You have... Not too many. We're gonna save yours. You've got a good amount, though. So we'll do that. And then we'll do that. And we'll do that. And then we will... Hunt? Yeah. That all looks fine. So... The two raids are usually interpreted as pairs. Basically, the first raid of Gunnar versus his enemies after he kills multiple from the same family against the good advice of several people, most notably Njál Þorgeirsson, turns into this big fight where it is just Gunnar defending the house with a bow that is strung by his... Well, that works well until the bowstring breaks, and then he asks his wife Hallgerður for a couple of strands of her hair to make a new bowstring, and she says no, and then he dies, which is a bit awkward. But that fight is supposedly the way things were supposed to be, right? That is... The way fights are supposed to work is that they are not burning the house down. They're just fighting relatively fairly in a siege. The fight against Njál Þorgeirsson some years later, they are less honorable and represent the deterioration of Icelandic culture, and they burn the hall down. And everyone except the brother-in-law, Kauri, dies. Kauri then goes on a murderous rampage and kills most of the burners. Except for the ones that die off screen. Which is like half of them. An old man stands in front of the farmhouse. You know him, but not well. His family is always stuck to the outskirts, never happy to call your father their thing. In his youth, he built this house by himself. Now he has gray of hair and his skin is lined with wrinkles. My sons were fools to attack you, and cowards to do so during the feast. Thank you for allowing my line to continue. So, we have some options here. This one I think doesn't do anything, so we can just do that. They may have been drunk, but you turned them against us. No, it was the act of youthful foolishness. That's all. You have nothing more to fear from our family, I swear. So we've got some options. We could spare them. We could kill the men, exile the women. We could kill everybody. We could exile them. Or we could, you know, stab. Surprise stabs. Chat, what's the vibe? What's the vibe? Are we a merciful ruler? Are we somewhat violent? Are we extremely violent? The most saga-like option is almost certainly this one. You know, the crime has been done. The only response is overboard amounts of feuding violence. Leave no one left because otherwise someone is going to come back and be a thorn in your side later. But it is bad form to kill people who are not combatants. So, you know, you will, even if you light the house on fire, you invite women and children to be able to leave, and they can go off with their family. Wow, you all are saying that we are merciful lords. All right. Oath, 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 oath. Make him swear an oath so you can see how oaths are handled. This will almost certainly bite us later. Just so we're all on the same page. There's a very good chance this will ruin our day later. If they are doing Saga style correctly, this should cause problems. I swear it by my family's honor, may Thor strike me down otherwise. Are you sure about this? I feel bad for the old man, but what his sons did. If you let this drop with no repercussions for Erlinger's family, that's a very unfortunate signal to the rest of the clan. Or else it's a show of weakness to everyone else. Well, you all said else. Here we go. Clan power reduced. You are all much too merciful. We're not winning any Saga heroes out here. I was saving up for something specific with him, wasn't I? Was it like charge? I think it was charge. Yeah. He just runs at them and then just bullies somebody. Uh, 20 damage versus harried enemies. After every kill, we get more things. Dodge stuff, dodge stuff. Less likely to get flanked. We already have that. Good patient, hardened. Just don't get got. 50% armor piercing. That feels good. Maybe you want that, and then we'll walk the shot. Walk your shot is really important. And then there's also... Ah. That's fine. Hello. We'll have to act like a saga hero in other ways? You just want to see what they'd swear by. Well, they swore by Thor, which is fine. Maybe. Give me a moment. There's a map floating around somewhere of godly place names in here. Ugh, that doesn't have a map. It just has all of the... It has a huge list of them, but it doesn't have the map I was hoping it would have. Stefan Brink has done a lot of work on the theophoric place names in Scandinavia. Okay, Odin is mostly in Sweden. That checks out. Yeah, okay. Well, I definitely don't mind, Thor, being used here. Thor is broadly popular across Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. The other one I would, would have been interested to see. Yeah, okay, there's a chunk, there's some in Denmark. Basically, what I'm doing for this, by the way, is I'm looking at maps of theophoric place names, so you can't necessarily see them super well in the thing here. But right, you can see this is the distribution in Scandinavia of place names with Ullr as one of them. This is used by Stefan Brink and others as a tool to identify potential religious sites or places where belief in that god is strong. Thor and Odin are pretty wide-ranging, but tend to be clustered in Sweden. Tyr is the one that is referenced a lot in Denmark. Now, it would be doubly exciting if they had used Tyr for this, because multiple mythological sources, well, okay, mostly Lokasenna, the prose editor probably gets it from Lokasenna, say that Tyr is really bad at negotiating peace between people. So it would be good foreshadowing for bad ends if they were swearing on Tyr instead of on Thor. Forseti is unfortunately a really, really rare place name. Right, there are very few place names associated with Forseti. And so, I think the main ones are in Frisia. Like, they're not even in Scandinavia. So, that's fun. Arachne, it's good to see you. I've not been streaming for like 6 weeks, so you haven't missed a whole lot. But this is Expeditions Viking. It's a historical CRPG that we are currently in southern Denmark in the start of the Viking Age. And we appear to be just getting raided. You'll keep Mother safe? Great. Go find Ketil and Nepia. We'll bar the door until it's safe. Good. So they're going to bar themselves inside. That's fine. That's probably good. You're awake. Thank you. What's going on? They're Northmen, which in this case should probably be read as Norwegians. They came by ship and they're attacking from both north and south. Alright, so there's someone in the north and someone in the south. And we just walked into bad news. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Ulfeivr Albjörnadóttir, Refur Eyvindarsson, Friðrik... I would prefer that Friðrikur, rather than Friðrikur, Grímarsson, Tóka, Steinhildar Flókadóttir, Jöfur Erlendarsson, Una Refsdóttir, Mjöðvittir, Hafgrímsson. Yeah, Charkles, you would think that since Forseti is the god of justice, they'd come up a lot in oaths. I wish. It'd be handy. It would be very useful if he did, but no. Okay, so we can't let them reach the Golden Box of Doom. Kveldover should probably push up. You're a bit far forward, so I'm going to have you back up. You're going to head over here. We'll see if we can't get this sort of roundabout set up. And then, oh no. Don't want you to push up too hard. We'll end turn on this, see what they're doing. We'll see how many of these guys are. Good. Harried but missed. I mean, that's extreme long range, so I'm not too worried. And we want to be careful about standing too far in the torchlight, because you saw that illuminated thing gives people an accuracy bonus against you. So. Sometimes people get hit. Okay. So. You'll run up. I should have this spotting one. Oh, I can actually heal off of that. Let's do that instead. And then we'll get out of torch range. Ranging shot is a free action. Really? That's fine. They're both spotted. And I still get my attack. We might just honestly shoot. Just this long range shoot, see if we get lucky. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. And then push up onto the edge of the water, I guess? I should be relatively safe here. Now I can go. Should be able to shoot straight across here relatively safely. 1 HP. God. Annoying. And not in range. Unless if you happen to also have a bow. You have nothing. You have axes or your fists. Okay. Well, on the bright side, if I just step up here and spread out a bit, that should keep us from getting too much, like, spotted out. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unless they have 7 move, that should leave us fairly okay. Yeah. We're just gonna do that. We'll see how these guys shoot at us and who they shoot at. Kveldover again. Oh, they just stopped moving. Boo. I do need to be a little careful because I don't want to push up too far when I don't have super reliable ways. What do you have right now? You have a bow too. I don't want to move up too far when I don't have like super reliable ways of making sure that my people don't get totally got. I would need to be 2 squares closer. So we might just risk that, honestly. And then we'll anticipate opening on you. Yeah, we'll anticipate opening on you. You're demoralizing us again, which is, I think, that hit penalty that we were seeing. That should miss everyone. Oh, that spots everyone. Oh, crap. Oh, good. You interrupted. And crit. How annoying. You also have a bow? Hmm. Okay. You're gonna hit with a sling. And you're gonna just run in. No, you were close enough to get a hit. Boo. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just back up again. Should be able to just shoot across the... here? Hit? Ugh. God, if any of my people could hit, that would be wonderful. And this is so dangerous. I can't cross that, so that's fine. I mean, I hate crossing this bridge when I have, like, no oomph to help keep my people alive through it. Do I have a good shield hook? No. No. Like, I don't want to push up too badly. That spots you, that should be fine. You have restores as well. That's good to keep in mind. Okay, that was definitely too many squares to be able to do anything with. And you're gonna run up, which I love. They're running in such weird directions. Oh, that's great. That's great news for us. And that spots everybody. Very bad. Except that everyone's bad, so this is fine. Anyone else really digging the music? Oh, the music in this rules. Kveldover, I need you to not be dying like this. That's fine. We'll do this, which is potentially risky, but also should work okay. I can do a spotting shot on here, which will ruin both of their day. Quick shot, demoralize. Maybe I'll just demoralize all of them, honestly. Make it really annoying for them to hit. If I shoot across here... Good, that was a hit. Which is great news. Because this will be a kill. And then Kveldover... Well, you can stand still, and then Kveldover can... I can't do that because I need to be able to... just like walk up and then whack him really hard. Crits for 94. And then that's it for the turn. Ow. Okay, he got stunned. That's fine. Everything's fine. This is all fine. That hit fairly hard. We've got plenty of heals yet though, so I'm not worried. And I don't think it's gonna matter because they can't get a useful kill. Yeah. I don't think they've got a good way of getting a kill here, so we can just kind of go in. And just trust that he's gonna stay alive. I think we just trust that he stays alive. Let's see, to help with that, we're gonna demoralize again. And that should use your attack action. And you're going to run up, which will spot, but that's fine. And then shoot him. You are back with nourishment. Great. Everyone spread out, which should prevent any big AoE things. Good, you focused on healing. You're just have a sling, so you're not a threat. I'm trying to avoid Kveldover going down, but this could get... I'm relying on 2 misses. 1 miss. I'm relying on this guy just missing. Yeah! Perfectly calculated. Not at all risk. No, we're gonna do that with Nay. That was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to demoralize, but that's also fine, I guess. We'll focus on healing you this way. You should just be able to whack him so he dies. Perfect. Don't want to risk the... And since you're spotted, that should be okay. And dead. Great, that's 2 more kills. That only leaves a couple of people alive. So I don't think I need to be too worried. It's mostly hunting down people at this point, because I don't think that one attack can kill. I don't think that this guy's one attack even is Still calculated. This is fine. Everything's fine. We're just dumping resources into our blacksmith. Just gonna continue to dump resources into our blacksmith. Demoralize everyone and then run up as far as we can. And shoot him. Ah, I got the Harry at least. I have no more heals, so hopefully Kveldover doesn't go down. Not that going down is the end of the world, but it is annoying. Ooh, Dildrum. Have fun with that. That is always a very fun experience. Watch this. 3, 2, 1, stab. Literally just, hey, guess what? I happen to have a lot of damage available. I have a spear, don't I? Yeah, I totally have a spear. Oh no, I have not a spear right now. That's fine. Oh, this isn't even the right person. I also still don't have a spear right now, which I should probably fix. But that's okay. That's fine. We did it, and nobody died. Kveldover is the only person whose things took damage, which I don't care about. Blast of the Norwegians hits the mud. Uh-huh. Great. That gives us another person. We should switch this around, because I would prefer to have the spear right now over the sword. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. You're still working on it. Great. Great. By the way, there was a question earlier about whether the outside of the hull is better than the inside. Like, the inside of the hull is fine. Like, there's nothing particularly wrong with it that isn't a necessity by the requirements. But, as far as this goes, this is real good. The big complaint I have with this is just that it's unclear how this portico works. But it's also very much in line with what's plausible. Right, the big thing is, right, that this kind of colonnade goes up a little farther than I would do it on a reconstruction, but it's not a big deal. This kind of diamond-backed or hog-back design is very plausible, though fancy. And otherwise, yeah, it's fine. It's all fine. These houses are a bit... This house should be more common. This house looks better than these houses by a little bit, but you know, they're both acceptable. I like this one as I think a little bit better of what's attested in semi-urban settings. And now we need a spicy take. So the spicy take here is that while do I just bully into the corner here? Bullying into the corner here might be the best option. It's risky, but if it works, would be very good. Because you don't have a spear, you don't have a yeah. This is absolutely the best place for him to be right now. Everyone else can just kind of fan out. Anyway. The spicy take here is that, while, you know, it is very much in vogue in the style of the whole situation to, be focused on tactics and the shield wall and all of that, I am very much unbothered by its absence here. Okay, you got the stun on that. That's probably the worst possible scenario. And then you get the demoralize. And now it should be my turn. So you're stunned, so you don't get a dang thing. But that's fine. Do I take the... Boo, you're one square too far away. For the extended attack. Ah. That actually isn't all that useful. So we'll just run up and we'll do the extended attack from here. Spear. Spear. Crits on the shield. Not super helpful. But that's fine. That gets the harried. We'll run over here. What's your other weapon? A knife. Maybe we'll just like... Ow. Attack of opportunity at point blank. See if either of these hit. No. But the advantage of forcing the attack of opportunity there is that it means that I get my flanking bonus. Which is fine. Do I just run up? Maybe I just run up right now. I am not able to do that right now. So yeah, I think we just run up and then it's okay. Raptors, we have Viking Age bagpipes. I mean, yes, bagpipes in instrumentation usually suggest Highlands or Scottish or just, you know, venturesome. But there are Viking Age bagpipes. They do exist. Did the Vikings do any sort of agriculture at Lonely Spaceport? Oh, I didn't even finish the spicy take. The lack of a shield wall in the tactics here is fine. Even though the shield wall is like standard infantry stuff. The reason it's fine is that there's a bunch of systems in place that encourage you to play like this. And to play in something that looks like a shield wall. Even though there's a lot of, class differentiation, etc., between the different, types of classes you can play as, so that it ends up most people not having shields when they should. There's a relatively spicy take. I don't care that there's no shield wall tactics, because the systems subtly encourage it. Ow. And you got another demoralize. I really have to do something about that other demoralize. Of course you hit on shield. We'll step one forward then. We'll see if I can get you to not hit on shield. Fine. Jeez, we'll just shank you. God. Imagine being that annoying. Unfortunately, I'm about to get, well, I can't actually make a valid melee attack, so... We'll start there. That didn't even fuck up your shield. Alright. Oh, it did fuck up your shield. Great. Great. And there's 3 more people. And we get that shield hook. He's exposed. Which is not a big deal, I think. Depends on who you attack. You went for a stun there. You went for an interrupt there. You don't have the move. Okay, that's literally fine. I wish I had a reliable ranged option here. If I had a good range... Good ranged option. Then I could use a charge here, which would hit fairly hard. Thank you, interrupt. Still let me make the move, please. Thank you.
Never let your guard down.
Great. You already attacked, so that's fine. And that I don't get a flanking benefit right now, because that doesn't exist. It doesn't work on someone who's stunned. Perfect. That should be it. You got the stun again? Thank you for that. You demoralized again. Are you actually going to use your bow this time? Oh, you hit the person way on the other side of the thing. Okay. That's fine. You know, we'll commit to the shield hook on that, because that should guarantee a kill. Big hit there. Great. Can use that to just push up. You don't even have a... Can use a charge here to get pretty much all the damage. And then, if this is a... Great. Even though that's not a crit, that's also still totally fine. Then I have 2 range, so that's another kill there. And then we're actually just gonna rush up. We're gonna see how far everyone can rush up. Because I have 1 guy left to kill. If I can kill them next turn, then I don't get reinforcements. And he ran forward. Interesting. Interesting maneuver. We're going to ranging shot here for that accuracy, that sweet, sweet accuracy bonus. And then we're going to go in. Just yoink. Resisted the Harry, but that's fine. And then yoink. Oh, there still are reinforcements on their way in. We can take a turn to get prepared then. Let's range our archers back a bit. Not too far, because I don't want to get them in trouble. We'll set you up there to have control over this space. We'll back ourselves up a bit. Nepia can back up. Behind cover. Behind cover. That should give collectively a good chunk of control. Yeah. And you activated a buff, which is, I think, 25 damage resistance on everybody. Okay, you've got a, like, Danax, which is also 2 range. And then you have your fists. Your fists hit very hard. Excuse me. We're just gonna charge in on you. Because I don't want you to be activating charges if I can help it. That should still be a kill. Great. Love that for me. We might try and cripple you. Ah, whiffed. Unlucky. Good crit, good crit. What are our options? Ugh, these people all have so much damage, damage reduction. We're gonna have ourselves go over here, because if she survives this turn, I'm gonna need to heal her up. Oh. What are you doing there? Why are you doing that? That was weird. Well, maybe I won't need to heal up if I can just get a kill. If I can just finish everybody. That should be more or less the same. We might have Sigriður do another aim shot over here. Should guarantee a kill. Because that lets me... do some shenanigans. And by the way, Arachne, I have not seen that video. It's been recommended to me a few times, but I haven't watched it yet. Anyway, we just won. There was a question earlier, did the Vikings do agriculture? They absolutely did. They were primarily... we're not done yet. They were... Oh, I'm sorry, Arachne. Unfortunately, I have increased ad frequency for the next while because Twitch tried... Twitch increased how much ad frequency we get, or how much revenue we get for ad frequency. And so... I do need the money, and so we're experimenting with that to see how much that actually translates to. And then going from there. Ragnar did not start as a farmer, Wolfie. That is Vikings TV show propaganda. Ragnar Lothbrok started as the son of a king, which means he is the elite of the elite. And so, well, you know, everyone was a farmer to some extent. Everyone had to do agriculture because that's how you lived. He is about as not a farmer as it is possible to be in the Viking Age. But, that being said, basically everybody did agriculture. Right, pretty much everyone was an agriculturalist. Because that is how you make food, is basically subsistence or barley over agriculture. In Denmark, that's going to be a lot of wheat, a lot of barley, etc. And then in Norway, that's going to be more pastoralism. Some barley, some rye, depends on the climate. But in Iceland, it's going to be cattle and sheep farming. Starts off as cattle, turns into sheep by the High Middle Ages. And then, you know, Arachne, that is the other option to get around being interrupted by ads. Wolfie just gives you a tier 1 sub, and now you have an ad-free viewing experience. You also have access to a whole bunch of emotes. Have fun. Now, Gunnar in Friði, the Peaceful, is a giant. His fur-line shirt is barely capable of confining his bulging muscles, he's holding a weapon in each hand, and his stance calls to mind a bull in heat. By far his most outstanding feature, however, is his beard. This is a beard you might expect to find adorning the face of a Jötun. Looks like a bear crawled onto his chin and died. He is the guy on the cover of the game. The giant's attention is not on you. Two of his raiders appear to be out of your longhouse, each carrying a large sack of what you assume to be your possessions. Well, Crossbeard. Walrus? Bear? No, fish bear. Frost being one of the many whale words, and then a tooth whale is a walrus. We're just going to attack. Of course, we get hit by the surprise round to start with. Alright, what's this play here? Shosbjorn's scary. Gunnar is extremely scary. How much move does he have? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does Auslaver just tank a hit while we fan out? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, if I just put Auslaver here, and everyone else backs up. My guy tripped. Kedik tripped. That's potentially very bad news. We'll see how much damage he takes, but he may just go down. We're just backing way the heck up. You got the stun. Resisted. Okay. Just don't die. Ow. He's gonna have... just need to sack him, I think. Heck. What realistically are my options? Can I not... I can't kick you because I don't have a straight line. I just have to do that. We'll hit here, which will at least help everyone else. What options do I have? You have to just heal. Still has a significant chance of causing bad news. Run up, stab him. Absorb the block, but took out the thing. We hit the stun on you here. Good, that got the stun. That buys me time. And then I can... If I stand there, that makes it so he can't reach without provoking an opportunity attack. The AI doesn't like that. That keeps the next person up. Oh, can you attack at 2 range? Well, that was lucky. Now, the goal for this turn is to completely bully Gunnar. That's the turn for this. That's the goal for this turn. We're just gonna completely try and bully this guy. Got the stun. Step 1. Step 2. We back up there. You heal here. And then one step off to the side to force the opportunity attack. He's all... No. I stand here, which forces the opportunity attack corridor. He went for an interrupt, which is fine, because no one's moving this turn. We got him! Yeah, his name is ironically Gunnar the Peaceful. So that nearly went very badly. The getting tripped on the first move was suboptimal, as it turns out. Literally don't care. You do whatever you want. You're not gonna survive. Oops, cut off her head. That's awkward. Lot of blood. Flawless. Wow. Gunnar passes the strength of 3 men. No, he got stunned and then I killed him in 2 hits. Well, that was rousing. It's been a very, very long time since I met anyone who could match me in battle. I did not expect to find such strong warriors here in this tiny village. I thought you weren't protected. I see I was wrong. I know when I'm beaten. I surrender. The huge man makes no effort to resist as they take him away. No, Gunnar is cool, don't worry about him. Well, guys, stop insulting Gunnar. Everyone's fine. Everyone's fine. Also, what a strong opening. I do want to acknowledge the fact that it is unusual in the fairly extreme. Like, rather extremely unusual that we would open a game about the Viking phenomenon. With you not doing a raid, but rather a political dispute, followed up immediately by you getting raided. Like, that's funky. That is not something you would necessarily expect to have happen. But is also an incredible opening gambit in a game like this. Because obviously, in a somewhat meaningful way, right, that is just more historical. Like, that's just better. More valuables. Stealing all of their stuff. Just Just gonna quick steal everything before I go check on my family. They said they were fine. I'm sure that they believe them. There's Gunnar. But yeah, we'll get our own chances to do some raiding and combat, but it's very much in line with this saga tradition that the game is going from, that we are first and foremost farmers, dealing with our own troubles, and then a berserker, which is what Gunnar is. They call him an Othjevin, as his class name, but same difference. Realistically, same difference. But they show up a bad-tempered, troublesome berserker shows up and makes a mess of things, and we, the heroes of the saga, are the victims of it, rather than the ones who start the fight. We're alive! And we're unscathed. Hooray! War of the Beak has not let a warning, and the timing is so very convenient. Agreed. Agreed. But first... skills? We got a good amount of skills right now. High damage, medium crit, What other options do I want? I want to look at some of these. More move. Interrupt attacks have 100% hit chance, which is very good. Attacks of opportunity stun people. Quick feet, relentless. Let's go Keen Eye. And then diplomacy. And then I don't know. That and that. Hooray. 12 points. Is that enough for this? Yeah. Better at range. We love that. Just plus 10 HP. Just plus 10 HP is very good. Where was Strider? Strider's very good, and what other options do we have in here? Fortunately, no one has any oomph left, so we won't worry about that. How would a Saga hero respond? I mean, Berserkers always end up dead. In the Legendary Sagas, a bit less likely to. I guess a good comparison might actually be something like Hrol Saga Kraka. Alright, Wolfie. Have a good night. Hrol Saga Kraka has the first half of the saga being basically, let's just attack. Let's get the gang together for them to have adventures in the second half of the saga. But that involves someone like Budvar Bjarki fighting 12 champions, Berserker, of Hrolfr Kraki, and just killing them all to prove his place at the table, which is wild. And everyone's just like, yeah, that's fine. You killed 12 people, that's okay. The flip side, the other version is in, say, Njal Saga, where there's an interlude around the time of Christianization, where a bunch of berserkers are being troublesome in an Icelandic farmstead, and they eventually get tricked and then murdered while their swords are stuck in the ceiling. Actually, I think it's just one berserker in that case. It's one berserker is making trouble. The trick is set up two fires. One's dedicated to Thor, the other to God. And the berserker jumps over the one to Thor, no problem, runs up to the one in God, lurches back, flings his sword arm in the air, gets stuck in the ceiling, and then all the farmers beat him to death with sticks. Just inside the hole, wonk, it's stuck in the rafter, can't get it out, let's just beat him to death. That's probably more common. That's probably the more common result, but it's fine. Let's see what items we've got. Convert salvage into weapons or hides into armor. Great. What options do we have? I don't have any salvage right now. Okay, yeah, I just don't have any salvage right now. Let's see. That's still just crafting. I thought we could... Boo. That's fine. Good nod. He must have been standing in the mud for at least 3 hours. He stands straight and looks you in the eyes when you approach him. No reason comes to mind. I killed your clansman. I have nothing to offer. We didn't have a chance to get properly introduced. I'm an Ulfjäden from Vestfold, so he is from western Norway, around modern town of Bergen. Bye. Sailed down from Kaipang to steal my mother's jewelry? Do we fail? Aw. Tragic. How is it the beacons weren't lit? Uh-huh. What is your relation? Hooray! He just agrees to tell us. I met Skuli on Orkneyar, the Orkney Islands, and he swore your village was a worthwhile trouble. Wealthier than the painted ones and far less fierce. First stories of the islands to the west across the sea, Orkneyar are the northernmost of these islands. Many Northmen have come to take land from the tribes that live there. Stories of a great kingdom to the south with great concentrations of wealth and little in the way of defenses. Well, I mean, if by great kingdom you mean 4 kingdoms? Yeah. Yeah. I like that they're acknowledging that the Orkney Islands exist. That's pretty cool. The tribes who live on the northern isles across the sea, they're called the Picts. No. None of this. Their weapons are poor and their homes are primitive by our standards. In the end of the 8th century, there is a fairly, fabulous Christian kingdom in northern Scotland. Most of Scotland. That is the kingdom of the Picts. Right, they have magnificent stonework, really adorable long-legged animal figures, and all point to being, a fairly standard early medieval kingdom. None of this, we live in primitive houses and decorate ourselves blue like this is Braveheart or something. Oh no, they're not a worthwhile target for a race, but the lands are fertile. Okay. Should have seen the connection. Uh-huh. He's really been to the Isles across the sea? Yeah. Oh, Pictish boar animal. Hang on. Let me find them. I mean, this is our standard one, right? This is the standard one that everyone duplicates. It's just that. But I seem to remember there being a very long-legged one. Come on. What are the actual archaeology? That's Pictish. Is this a Pictish stone? That is a Pictish stone. Look at them. Aren't they great? That was another one. These seem to be mostly, like, weird draconic figures. More than the, extremely long... I think the one I was thinking of is... I think there's a La 10 one, which is Bronze Age, British Isles, that have extremely long legs. Anyway. Were the Picts Celtic? Yeah. I mean... yes. It's just that Celtic is such a broad term that it means basically nothing, but did they speak a Celtic language? Very likely yes. So, sure. Like, what are we supposed to do with it? Pictish appears to be Celtic, though I do know there's some weirdness about it. Picts are not in my realm of specialty, but, like, okay. The relatively few inscriptions we have seem to be mostly consistent with being Celtic, so, yeah, sure, they're Celtic. Yeah. I do want to see if there's anything relevant around here. It looks like not a lot right now. Back to the longhouse! More loading screens! More loading screens! Okay. Mm-hmm. The Northmen started settling in the Isles across the sea. Scully met raiders there and convinced them we were easy pickings. And we were. That's fair. He'll try and get control of our clan from Sigurður at the next Althing. That gives him almost a year to weaken us further in the eyes of the king, and no one will help. Yelling is large, so we have no work. He controls trade with Kaipang. Travel the trade from Saxony through Ribe. Hey, look at that! Attested historical trade routes. We have almost a year. We need to build our trade routes. Skula has Kaipang. We'll get the Isles across the sea. See no other option. Do you have any rebuttal to offer than that? Great. We'll need a new ship and a crew to... here, followers to crew it. My own thing won't be enough. We'll need cargo. Thorfinn. Ask Gunnar to join us. Perfect. We need a crew of at least 10. You'll need a crew of a lot more. The largest Drakar, like the big giant dragon ships, of a little bit later in the Viking Age, but you know, actually, no, I'm gonna take that back because the Oseberg burial absolutely fits this, and it's from right in this period. They could fit crews of between 100 and 200. They're cramped, but you know, they theoretically could. So, the idea of at least 10 is very much a video game contrivance. Fishing boats could fit 10 people. But, we can go get some at, the ancient grave on Funen. Let's do it. I'm not about to miss up the chance to go hit up a burial mound. said I acted correctly, but it doesn't feel that way. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, that's not quite true. Oh, absolutely we're going grave robbing. There is 100% chance of us going grave robbing. I want to see what they do with it.
I heard you're leaving. I want to join you.
It's just time to leave. Okay. I owe a lot to old Hildab. I've learned all I can from her and I still don't know enough. Fair enough. Hilda trained you as a healer. That's what witches do. Yes, it is, mostly. Sometimes. Except for when it isn't. But yes, I will save discussions of the burial mound for when we, actually, you know, have a burial mound to rob. But we are 100% going to do it. Because it will be fun. It will be extremely fun. Find a
Oh there. What brings you kids out here? Don't tell me Ranvai Sao chose this moment to give birth.
Hey, that was a very Danish pronunciation. Ranvai? Ranveger. He was close of a gravesite in a hill once where an ancient king was buried with all of his treasure. Uh-huh. They say the tomb was protected by dwarves or elves or other such underground creatures. The terrible vengeance will fall any who dare to breach its sanctity. See myself travel through there with Alvalder when we had just been married on our way here to start our family. But the night in a small hamlet at the base of the hill. I now have additional questions. Old enough to look after the farm. Great. Really must finish that realm. Skenniga! I wonder, do we have a better weapon? I want to look at our inventory here. Because we got a lot of people and we at least have a few relevant things. Actually, we don't want that on you. We want that on you. You like using axes. You really like using axes. 5 to 12. 9 to 16. There. Auslaver, do it justice. You have a good sword now. Armor padding, poison, etc., etc. Also morale. No shinies, no shinies. You, however, have a helmet. And a shield. You have a shield and a bow. Awesome, so many options. Torca. Practice. We're going to maul some children. Wait. Probably shouldn't say that so gleefully, should I? Since we're in the surprise round, we should be able to huddle up in the corner here and end up okay. We're going to control the space with him, because he should be able to stop both of them without too much of a hassle. You have a knife or nothing. Great. We're gonna assault some children. Wait. Again, that still it doesn't get better, does it? Okay. Not a bad hit, but also none to... Oh wow, you ran all the way up there. I'm surprised. Alright. Well, that's fine. You're going to shoot? You're also going to shoot. You've got a somewhat larger bow. And one more person with a very tall bow. Okay. Really? We're going to... We're going to hit them with that Demoralize. That sweet, sweet Demoralize. And then after that, we're going to murder some... What options are reasonable here? Stores our shield, ready, stun, rebuke, tactical move, or charge. Yep, we're just gonna do that. Okay. Ah, now I'm exposed, I can't block anything. That's gonna be a lot of damage. That's fine, we've got plenty of heals up. We've got like 6 people who can heal. Or 2 people who can heal, so for a total of 6 times healing. I think that's the better way of saying that. If this hits, that'll be great. Perfect. We just straight up murdered someone by putting an arrow in their face. That was a child. I would like to observe that that was in fact still a child. Ow. Yeah, I deserved that.
Thank you.
So much for that. You are generally weaker, so that's fine. We're going to charge you. Yeah, that's an interrupt, but that's okay. Nearly a one-shot, and then we're going to stun you so that Ruskva's okay. Perfect. That should give me pretty good control of... Thank you. I don't know what you're doing. It's not helpful, but... Oh, you know, I didn't realize. I think you have a case of an invisible bow. I didn't even observe that, but no bugs here. The outfits are still extremely good, by the way. Even though we don't actually have evidence for like quilting like what Falgeir here has. It's fine. I'm not too bothered by it. Dead again. The healer's next, so we'll stab the healer. And we'll stab the healer again. If you don't die, that's gonna be annoying. Great. I don't know. You're no longer stunned, right? Yeah. How about just a demoralize? Interesting. I don't really want to drug my squad. You know? If these are the front 3 hexes, don't really want to drug my own people. So we'll try and save that for someone else. Shield hook leaves me exposed. Alright. Good use of the shield hook. Good use of the shield hook, I guess. Where are you all going? Why are you all doing this? Like, strictly unnecessary. Oh, you have invisible sword and shield too. God, the invisible weapons today are all over the place, aren't they? And shank. Great. Trying to run away. See, you shouldn't have done that. As I proceed to inflict great violence upon small children. I still don't feel good about that, as it turns out. I really don't. 1 HP and a dream. Ugh. Are you just gonna run away slowly? Good job. Good job. Bonk. Okay. Good fight. Good fight. We did it. We're so cool. No injuries, and the kids learned a lot after their defeat. Hooray. We can always beat up on small children if we need to practice. Incredible news for us, terrible news for these children. Now let's go into the bog and talk to Hulda again. Heartless Heart, my dear. Yours is a face I don't see too often. Do you need old Hulda's help? Mm-hmm. Hooray! Herbs. Herbs. Uh-huh. The gods like sacrifice, those who play tribute to spirits and gods are favored in battle. Might offer the gods more sacrifices out here in the bog. Oxen, horses, people perhaps in due time. Okay. So we do need to look for some flowers, which are not currently marked, but we have visibility of the entire space, so we can just kind of look around until we see them. Though if we could be farther zoomed out, it would be super helpful. Actually, I think she tells us, gives us hints as to where they are. The game's usually pretty good about that. No? Okay. Quest log? Oh, that was not the quest log. Quest log. Wilted flowers. Graves, beach, animal pen. Perfect. Yeah. Great. we can just kind of wander around and in the meantime just to hang out, because we're probably just going to clean up some of the stuff around town and then call it a stream before we actually go into other maps and go exploring too far afield. What are you working on? Fair. My beard. Let's make a new ore. Well. He wants to make a thing. A snekja. Like your father's ship. A thin warship with a shallow keel. 2 dozen rowing benches. So 2 dozen rowing benches should mean... That's 24 benches, probably 4 to a bench. Yeah. You see how many people that is? Right, you could say that that's supposed to be 1 person per bench, in which case that's going to be, depending on how you count it, either 24 or 48 people. But if you're doubling up, suddenly that's, what, a maximum of 96 people on this boat? Right, because if it's 2 people per oar, you have oars on both sides of the ship. So it depends, is this 1, 2, 1, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? It's actually only like 12 oars? Or is it 2 dozen oars with benches all the way across? Could run either way. Yep. Timber. Oak, elm, spruce, etc. Etc. Hey! We'll need sailstone. I'll ask Diehaver and her girls what they can do. Need some new tools. Yeah. Camping out in the forest. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Alright. Sigrid has informed us that there are people in the forest that are bad news. And graves. Let's go and look at the graves and also flowers. There's a small thing that I super like, and by the way, Patchwork Fez, I'm glad you're enjoying this enough to follow. Appreciate it. But, hey, Aikenskjaldi made this monument in memory of Svanhvítur, the Grace of Skjerd. Anyway. There's something really small that I appreciate that they mentioned, because Viking-themed video games have a bad habit of erasing, and in fact Scholarship for a long time did too, so I'm not going to say that they're alone on that. Go and die, Vimundur. Do you need anything? Anyway, they mentioned the fact that there are women involved in the production of expeditions and the labor involved, and not just in the sense of shield maidens, right? Oh, women go forth and fight. They break gender norms by acting like men. Alright, get good sleep. We'll be back 4:30 on Tuesday with Kingdom Come Deliverance, if you're interested in that. But, obviously there's a lot of labor involved that is not fighting on expeditions, and they mentioned Diehaver and her daughters being the ones who would weave the sail. And that is a vast amount of resources for the central piece of the ship that is done by women. Same thing with weaving the ropes, probably would be primarily women's labor. Clothing, sailcloth, tarps, all of those things. Anything fabric related to the expedition is probably going to be women's labor. Making arrows, potentially. Gathering the food, while other work is being done, overseeing the farms to make sure things are okay. And then after the expedition leaves, making sure that everyone who's at home is running smoothly is going to be the wife of the head of the settlement. Is going to be the one who's in charge of that. And so, yes, there's also lots of cases where they're going on the expedition, and probably some cases where they were fighting while on the expedition. But there's a lot of labor around that that's also being done by women, and justice for textile work. Björkdis has been wringing her hands more than usual about illness. Great. And we're still in midwinter, so we'll need to be a bit careful around there. Urban, the animal pen. And then out here on the beach, I believe, is the last one. Somewhere around here. This beach is very long. I thought it was farther north. There it is. Flowers. Animal pens, animal pens. I like what they're doing here, though I wish that there were some sheep involved too, but we're far enough south that pigs and cattle make a lot of sense. Because I mean, the thing is, setting it in Denmark is I would almost say, right, if I wasn't very pleased with it, I would be like, this is a strange choice. But since we are, no, let me restart that sentence. Most Viking games are set in Norway, right? That's just a thing. The Viking Age, Norway dominates this image. If Norway doesn't, Iceland does, right? The 1950s Viking movie is really important here for this, but, you know. I didn't Great. I swear before Odin to follow you wherever you ask and serve you with my life. Hey! Great. That makes sense that a berserker would in fact be, no, talking or swearing before Odin. Something other than warrior. A lot of evidence indicate that that's at least plausible, if not super duper well done. Vimander, did Nepia ask you to come? She's very sick. Huh. I know you have experience with medicine, but there's nothing as straightforward as a word. A deep cough, a slight but constant fever. The Gidya in Reba knows how to treat this disease. Great. Pile of Nepias. Aww. Nepia and Aethra share a bed. A pile of Nepias. Equipment is stashed under the frame like a shameful secret. I've been better. Well, I think has COVID. Some lung infection. Heck. It is COVID. Probably pneumonia, actually, but, you know. We're not going to steal our own people's stuff. Well, hopefully that enables some stuff later. But yeah, coming up next time, I think, because we are pretty much at the end, and there isn't a whole lot left to do here in town, we're going to turn in some herbs. Because, of course, chat, if doing side quests is extremely uninteresting, do let me know, by the way, because my go-to existence is that I do most. Who are you dueling against? My go-to is that I'm going to try and do most side quests because there's a lot. Flowers, great. Yes. Perfect. And we got more skill points. Bit of leveling, bit of other such stuff. Cripple, dual wielding, feint, interrupt, rebuke, stun. Maybe we'll. Nah, we don't have enough for that. Don't have enough for that either. Fair enough. We got the diplomacy there. Maybe we'll just go for leadership too. More leadership. And how many do you have? You have 10 right now. You have no strength whatsoever. Gotcha. Healing, good. Maybe I'll focus on that. You've got a bunch. You've got Galder too. Okay. Leadership, protect. And you have level 3 of that too. Understood. Uh, 14 of those. Maybe we'll do that. And then good patient. Healing is important, as it turns out. More of this random skill management. Hooray! 205, 105, 105, okay. Yup. That's a pretty good one. I would love to get a few more of these passes in place. Have enemy crit chance, evade, fortune favored, good patient. Don't seem to have a lot right now. Yeah. I don't think I have a lot useful right now to super worry about. There, 205 there. I think I want relentless. I think you want point blank always does crits. You already have that, so that's not a big deal. I think I want that, because then I can always just guarantee interrupts. And then you've got a bunch of stuff in here too. You've got axes and shields. We'll upgrade your axe another one. Great. So much meaningless tiny progress. What things do I have in here? That's scared. Travel to Riba. trees. Travel east there. That's Reba. Great. So I think we have done everything that we can possibly do in here right now, and we'll have some time anyway afterwards too. We can always come back here. We'll have to anyway to turn some stuff in. So, like, we will have time to check other places for other stuff. Which means that we are at the end of today's stream. We will go out into the world next time we are playing this game. Thank y'all so much for joining me for this. I'm glad y'all seem to enjoy it. Glad y'all checked it out. Saw some new friends, saw some old friends. Like, I'm having fun with it. I love... CRPGs are, like, usually something I don't have time for, but I love that we get to do that, and it's a nice historical setting. So, I hope you will all join me next week when we return to this. But I also hope, remember, Tuesday, the day after tomorrow, same time, same place, Kingdom Come Deliverance, which has been a long time coming, and if you want me to be to watch me be extremely petty, that's going to be a good stream to catch. Also, big thank you to our patrons, all shown here. You can click on the link in chat right now in order to head over to patreon.com/ludohistory, or if you're watching the VOD, link in the description on YouTube. For as little as $2 a month, you help make sure this keeps happening and that I can do bigger and better things, bring on guests, do all of that stuff. It'll be a great time. I would super appreciate the support. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of listening to me talk and ask you all for money. I hope you all have a good rest of your night. We'll catch you on Tuesday. It's gonna be time. Alright? Till then, have a good night, everyone.